How's everybody doing? Good? All right. Like Matt, I'll just say a couple opening remarks and then open it up for questions. Excited to start training camp tomorrow, and excited, obviously, to get this season underway. And as Matt said, most important thing, put a team on the court that the fans can be proud of and play the game the right way. In the off-season, a couple key things that we have to take care of. Number one is building the roster. And I talked about it. I thought we had a great draft. Made some trades that brought in some high-level players that fit what we're trying to get done, and also through the free agency. So I think we're in a good place with that. The second thing that's kind of behind the scenes that's really critical in the all-season is to get organized. And in that I mean with your human performance, with your analytics, with your medical, with your all the different things, the scouting, the evaluation, because those key areas have to be in place and ready to support our players, to give our players the time and tools necessary for them to be successful and for them to have the best season possible. That is a big piece of the off season, and I think we nailed it. I'm really, really happy with where we're at in all those areas. And as Matt said, some changes have occurred in those, but I think we're in a really good position heading into the season. The third thing that you have to do is you have to start creating, and Matt talked about it. You have to start creating your identity on a daily basis with urgency and intentionality. And that starts obviously with the coaching staff, and it moves on to the players. Our players had a tremendous, tremendous summer. We do things a little different than other teams in the NBA, and we're proud of that. And I think this summer really kind of signaled that in terms of guys in the gym, not just the last couple weeks, but all summer long, especially since after Vegas and Summer League. Guys coming back for two-a-days, coming in and getting extra shooting in, and spending time with the coaches and doing those things that maybe aren't typical of NBA summers. Our guys did an unbelievable job of that. The other thing that in terms of creating is, creating that camaraderie and that connection amongst the players. We have a lot of new players, and we had all our team out in Vegas. They spent time with Devin up in Flagstaff. They've been around for the last 4 weeks working out and doing different things like that. That is so important for us heading into training camp, that those connections and that camaraderie, and also the connection with the coaching staff. And I'll talk about Jordan and his staff later, probably with a question. But they're around all the time. And because of that, they are developing this connection with the players. I think it was in the summer, Oso talked about, we're going to be different because we're not just going to talk about it, we're going to do it. We're going to do what we say. And when we talk about the work ethic and spending time, Oso said, hey, I come back at night and I get extra shooting in. Every time I come back at night, Coach Ott's in there. So it's not just about talking about it, it's about doing it. And those are things that we're going to continue to do different. The other thing that you have to create is that what it looks like on a daily basis for us in terms of our daily discipline and our daily work habits. And I think we're in a good place heading into training camp with that. I really do. And I think that comes from the players. Our players, and I told them this yesterday, I'm so appreciative of what they've done and how they've embraced the things that we've talked about that are important, not only to Matt, to me, to Jordan, to our organization as a whole. They've knocked it out of the park. And as Matt said, that doesn't guarantee you 82 wins or whatever win total, but what it does do, it puts you in a position to execute at a high level. And I think heading into training camp, that's exactly where we're at. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Dana, you're first.
Coach.
Hey, Dana.
How you doing? And welcome back.
Thank you.
This past summer, you replaced James Jones, and you worked with him directly before he was put as a senior advisor. How do you view him and what he's now as the executive vice president of basketball operations for the league and having to work with him and replacing Joe Dumars, do you see that as a reflection of the success of the organization, as a win, even though Matt talked about not everything's measured in wins and losses?
Yeah, well, first, I get just as many emails from James now as I did before in his new role, and congratulations to him. Obviously, I learned a lot under him over the last 2 years. We spent a lot of time together, not only in terms of our team, but obviously with the draft and the evaluation process and different things like that. Have a ton of respect for him and what he did here during his time, and obviously I was excited about the role that he was going to play with the Phoenix Suns. To his credit and to the organization's credit, he's now been able to move into the new role with the NBA, which he will do a tremendous job. He knows the game, he knows the league, he's great with people. All those things are so critical in the role that he has now with the NBA, and we're going to spend a lot of time together working on stuff because there's that, one, there's the connection, and two, just in terms of the job description, our paths cross quite a bit. But I think it speaks volume for who James Jones is as a person and in this business and the respect that he has throughout the league.
Okay, Stephen?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Stephen.
for John Garner, PHNX Sports. How you doing?
Good.
So it feels like there's a balancing act of you all wanting to be patient and developing players, but also wanting to be competitive and winning in the now. How do you assess a season when you have merits that you're kind of basing things off of that, and what are your expectations in that?
Yeah, if you take a look at the teams that have kind of accelerated that process and have made a big jump in terms of their performance on the court, there's a common thread with those teams. They play hard and they're really tough. And they play an exciting brand of basketball that allows their talents as players to be showcased and so forth. So they're tough, they play hard, and they play together. And that system has kind of accelerated the process. I think we're in a good position to do that. Matt talked about the expectations. During my press conference last spring, I talked about, I want the fans, when they walk out of these doors, to be saying, that team plays unbelievably hard. They're competitive, they're resilient, they're tough, they play together. I want the guys on the opposing team in the locker room, in the ice tub, saying the same thing. If you do those things, then we're going to be successful. And when you do those things, I'm just a firm believer, and I think Matt is, I think Josh is, I think J.O. is. You do those things, success always follows. The winning then ends up taking care of itself. When you bring in quality players, when they're high character dudes, when they understand the roles and they have the daily habits and discipline needed, then those things are in place, then the winning follows. And I think we're in a good position to do that.
Okay.
Brian, Kellen Olsen, Arizona Sports. Good to
Kel.
see you.
Good seeing you.
I wanted to ask you about your experience collegiately with building up programs and like the success failures that you learned from that can carry over to a situation like this where you're taking over a team that is going through the start of building that culture and identity that you talk about.
Yeah, I think it's helped. I really do. Obviously with new players, new coaching staff, and then with the mandate, okay, this is what it needs to look like, and these are the key aspects of how we're going to be known, how we're going to play, what our identity is. To be able to communicate that, to be able to, we always talk about recognizing when you see it and rewarding that, and then having a conversation if it's below the standards. I think those parts, in my experience, 30 years in the coaching profession, 19 running my own program as a head coach, I think that's helped. I think another thing that has greatly helped is our players. Their buy-in and their understanding of what we're trying to do and where we're at, and their commitment to their important piece in us building this identity and creating the culture that will not only bring success now, but sustainable success as well, a lot of credit goes to them. You know what I mean? A lot of credit goes to them. And then obviously to Jordan and the new staff, because they're the ones, you know, in the foxholes with those guys on a daily basis. And the one thing I can tell you is there's a connection that has already been made there. I said Jordan has a unique ability to be confident without an ego. And so with that connection to the players, there is the working together, but there's never a doubt of who's in charge. And that's hard to do. You got to have a great coach, and you got to have high-level guys, and we have that in our organization.
Okay. Hayden?
Brian Hansel with Clutch Points. Nice to see you again.
Nice seeing you.
I know you talked about, you know, the high-level hires, you know, with Jordan and then Ace in the draft, but an underlying theme has been character. And I just want to ask you, why has character been so important when it comes to hiring coaches or the draft or even just signing players in free agency?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's the foundation of everything. We play 82 games. There's adversity around the corner. It's not if, it's when. It's going to happen. And so character is revealed in those situations. Lose a back-to-back game. Somebody's not playing as well. Whatever the case might be. If you don't have a strong character, and if doing things the right way, like we talk about, Matt said it, you're going to hear me say it all the time, do the right thing. You know, and we got guys that do that. We got a coaching staff that does that. Not the easy thing, not the comfortable thing, not the NBA thing, not the college thing, not the your best interest thing, the right thing. A lot of great things happen. And that's all based on your character. It's based on who you are, what you believe in, and the courage it takes to fight for that on a daily basis.
Okay, Doug?
Hi, Brian. Doug Haller with The Athletic.
Hey, Doug.
Good to see you. Mark Williams seems like a very key player on this roster, and also a little bit of an unknown because of his injury history. Is he healthy to start camp, and just what's your concern factor of that going forward?
Well, you know, I think with Mark, our biggest and number one objective was to get his body to the point in terms of strength, mobility, flexibility, where he could perform consistently at the level that he's shown in an inconsistent manner during his first 3 years. He's been with us every day since July 1st. His strength gains in the lower body have been off the chart. His work ethic on a daily basis, off the chart. His attitude, he understood where he was at and where he needed to get to, and he's worked every single day on that. In addition to that, I mentioned it early, how important our human performance group is with that as well, and they've done a tremendous job. The one thing we have to remember about Mark, he's 23 years old. He's got a bright future here in Phoenix. So when it comes to moving him forward, we're going to be strategic, we're going to be smart, but he's in a good place right now. And I think in terms of what he's been through, he's shown glimpses of what he can be, and it's our job to put him mentally and physically in a position to do that on a consistent basis. We're excited about the future with Mark for sure.
Shane?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Jane.
Shane Yellen Forbes. I'm just curious, what excites you about the diversity and experience that this roster has? You have veterans like Devin, but then you have guys in the middle ground that have something to prove, or maybe they believe that, like Jalen and Mark, but then a crop of rookies. So just kind of what, is that a positive for you guys, and what excites you about that?
Well, I think you have to look at it as a positive. You know what I mean? I think, you know, you call Devin is a veteran, and he's not even 29 years old yet. You know what I mean? We are younger. We're longer, more athletic. I think we're have built a roster that can play and compete the way we want to. But it is a good mix. You have, I think Devin's primed for a great year. I talked about his work ethic over the summer, his two-a-days that he puts in. I think he's excited about the new challenges of even taking a greater leadership role. So it starts there. But then, through the trades, through the free agency, through the draft, bringing in players like Dylan Brooks, who brings that edge to him, that toughness, that competitiveness, coming off his best year maybe as a pro, you know what I mean, with that experience. Royce O'Neal, a little more on the veteran side, a glue guy that has helped us win a lot of games. And then obviously, again, Jalen Green at 23 years old, Mark Williams at 23 years old, but they've played in the league. So they're at a point right now where they're ready to take that next step. And you have to put in a certain amount of work, which I think they have, and you got to be put in a position where that work is able to continue and there's a pathway for that development. I think both those guys are in that area. Grayson Allen just looks, I mean, he's going to have a breakout year because he's had as good a summer as anybody. I feel real confident about that, and I remember talking to him at the end of last year, and he talked about, and this is why having someone like Book is so important, he talked about the condition that Devin Booker was in and the fact he never gets tired on the court, and he one of the greatest strengths is his ability to run, and Grayson made a commitment, and we were in the hotel in Sacramento. He said, BG, I'm going to be in that kind of shape, and guess what? He is. So when you put all those together, I think we got a lot of good pieces. Now the job is from a front office to a coach and to the player, we have to execute. Our job now is the execution of that game plan.
Okay, Dwayne, last question.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Dwayne.
Hey, real quick, follow up on Dana's question. Obviously now Steve Nash is in that role.
Yep.
And I'm just curious, what relationship will you two have? I mean, what will you lean on him for? Like, how will he be utilized in this? Because my mind goes a bunch of different ways on how that can happen.
I can only imagine, Dwayne. For me, the first thing with Steve Nash is why. Okay, and Matt kind of said it. Why not? Number one, just his intelligence level is off the chart and his uncomparable feel for the game and knowledge of the game. The second thing with Steve is, Matt said it, everything that we talk about that we want our players to embody in our identity, that's Steve Nash. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't have to look any further than that. And the third thing, why, is the Phoenix Suns mean something to him. So him working for us means a little more, and I like that. The what is he going to do? The insights that he's going to be able to give our coaching staff, our players, and myself are going to be tremendous. I think will be very, very impactful. There's an expertise, there's an ability to analyze, there's an ability to independently evaluate different things, from players to knowledge of the league, players around the league, and so forth. For me, it's exciting. He lives right around the corner. He's been in the gym quite a bit. But maybe the best thing happened, when Steve and I talked, and then we talked with Matt, and we got this thing done. About 2 days later, we were on the phone talking, and he was at one of our open runs and one of our workouts, and just talking about basketball. And he says, we. And I was like, damn. Pretty special. Because it's back to we. Back to where it belongs. And he's going to make a huge impact for us, not only for me and the rest of our front office, but with Jordan and his staff. We want to bring in highly intelligent, high-character guys, no ego, where the Phoenix Suns mean something, and that's Steve Nash.
Thank you, BG.
All right. Thank
Great
you,
job.
guys.
Okay. You are next.